Y'all see the title, man. Let's get to it. I'm off for y'all a little, like 3 seconds. Give it 3 seconds.
There is one rule to success that everyone must know in the NBA. No one can do it alone. Usually it takes two, if not more. Today, I'm breaking down my list of the top 6 greatest duos in NBA history. And let me tell you, creating this list is hard. Sure, you may know who your top picks are, but ranking certain duos above others can simultaneously feel justified and blasphemous. I'm sure many of you will be triggered by my rankings and by my omissions. So let me know in the comments how you're much smarter and how you're...
Me personally, bro, I'm gonna keep it as objective as possible, bro. You know, I'm gonna tell bro when I feel like he's wrong.
Your list first from mine. Starting off at number 6, Larry Bird and Kevin McHale. These two are the biggest reason why the Boston Celtics dominated the Eastern Conference in the 1980s. What's truly special about this tandem is that you could argue that they're the two most all-around efficient scorers ever at their positions, as Bird had a 5-season stretch where he had 50, 40, 90 percentages, and Kevin McHale...
A 5-season stretch is crazy, you know? Because people talk about 50, 40, 90, that's the cream of the crop, you know? So, you know what I'm saying? 5 seasons in a row? Come on, that's different.
Is one of the few players who shot 60% from the field and 80% from the free throw line in a season. These were their averages over their careers as teammates in Boston. And although they were elite offensively, they were also a problem defensively, as Bird made a total of 3 all-defense teams and McHale made a total of 6. This tandem won 3 NBA championships and 5 finals appearances. And although Robert Parrish also had a significant impact for their success, make no mistake that McHale was the second best player on that team during the peak of their success.
Yeah, he's really letting me know something too. Cause I ain't gonna lie, like the 70s and stuff, like I can't really, you know, speak too much on that. Yes, I have tuned into some Larry Bird highlights, videos, things of that nature, but in terms of things like that, like I didn't know who was really the better big man between Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish. You know what I'm saying? Boy, just put me on game though.
Number 5, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. In reality, this duo won the fewest championships together out of any pairing in my top 6. But the dominating fashion of their winning was enough to earn their spot on the list. The initial collaboration of LeBron, Wade, and Chris Bosh had people referring to them as the Big Three Heat. But it didn't take very long for people to start treating them as a duo instead. Together, these stars made it to the NBA Finals in all 4 of their years as teammates in Miami, and they won the NBA championship in 2 of those instances. Easily, their most impressive run came in the 2012 to 2013 season, where they famously won 27 straight regular season games, which is still the second longest streak in NBA history. A very underrated aspect of their success was their solid defense, as the Heat were a top 5 team in their first 2 years with a Big Three, and the players who deserve the most credit for that is obviously LeBron and Wade. These were the averages of LeBron James and Dwayne Wade over that memorable 4-season stretch, and honestly, based on their talent, they could have been even higher up the list if they had been teammates for a longer period of time. Number 4, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. The fact that possibly the 2 greatest shooters in NBA history both play on the same team is pretty crazy. Obviously, their story is still being written, but even with plenty of basketball...
That's another thing, like... Their spot is solidified, in my opinion, at number 4, bro. You can't really argue with this, bro. They changed the game, man. They're the reason why, I guess you could say, the modern era really has some real litness to it, I guess you could say. They really Klay and Curry turned the modern era up, if you could say it. You know what I'm saying? Like, with the 3-point shooting and all that. They turned it up. They changed it. You know what I'm saying? They got every kid in the world trying to pull from half court. You know what I'm saying? NBA 3-pointers. They trying to shoot from deep now because of Curry and them. You got to give them that, bro. I ain't gonna lie. He changed the game forever.
basketball still ahead of them, they're securely on my list. As teammates, they've won 4 NBA championships, but just one Finals MVP, which does hold them back a bit on this list. These are the statistics of the two stars in their years as teammates, and although it's clear that Steph was always the better player, there's no question that Steph doesn't win his championships without Klay Thompson's two-way efforts, and without his clutch Game 6 performances. Although Steph Curry is best described as a decent defender, Klay, on the other hand, is the ultimate example of a 3-and-D player, as he has the 2019 All-Defense Team appearance to go along with his lethal three-point shooting. I can imagine that with 4 championships, I'm gonna receive some criticism for not ranking these two higher. But when you consider that Kevin Durant was there for half of them, and they only have one Finals MVP...
That's another thing, yeah. Like, I'm saying 4 is cool, and 4 is cool because their story is still be written, like bro said. You know, they still got time. They still hooping. They still together. So, yeah, bro.
Between the two of them, you could certainly argue that there's a lot of other players who deserve a massive amount of credit outside of that tandem. Number 3, Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The instant Magic was drafted to the Lakers in 1979, he had the all-time great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as a teammate. Kareem's best seasons individually were with the Milwaukee Bucks in the 1970s, and since he was much older than Magic, the prime of their careers never completely overlapped. But they were both incredible and considered as elite players in the early 1980s. These were their career numbers as teammates in Los Angeles, as both greats were always offensive threats that had to be respected. As a dynamic and dominating tandem, they won 5 NBA championships together and 4 Finals MVPs between the two of them. One of the most beautiful aspects of their offensive attack is that Magic was their strength in transition, as he always loved to push the tempo, while Kareem loved to operate in half-court sets, relying heavily on his nearly unstoppable skyhook shot. No matter which way the defense tried to contain them, the Lakers had an answer for it, as Magic could dominate with his style, or Kareem could dominate with his. In the late 80s, you could definitely argue that the best tandem on the Lakers was actually Magic Johnson and James Worthy, due to Kareem's slow decline in his twilight years. So in a sense, 2 of their 5 championships together actually qualify as Magic and Worthy championships from the duo perspective.
How y'all feel about that? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't really know. Y'all gotta let me know.
In my opinion, this aspect keeps Magic and Kareem from being placed any higher than 3rd on my list. But regardless, they were still one of the greatest 1-2 punches to ever do it. Number 2, Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant. If you're talking about peak ability and the individual quality of a superstar, then it probably doesn't get any better than prime Shaquille O'Neal and a young Kobe Bryant. In their first championship run, it was clear that Shaq was the significantly better player and the more productive player. But after that first title run, Kobe took a massive leap forward, and the duo operated more as a Superman and Batman type of tandem. In their 8 years as teammates, they went to the NBA Finals 4 times and won 3 NBA championships, with Shaq winning all 3 Finals MVPs. The most noteworthy championship was their historic 15-1 postseason run, where they swept through the stacked Western Conference, solidifying their argument for the title of the greatest team in NBA history. These were the stats of Shaq and Kobe during their time as teammates, and although Kobe got off to a relatively slow start, the meat and potatoes of this tandem was between the years of 2000 and 2003. Both of these players had the talent and the ability to be a championship leader on their own respective teams, which is part of the reason they butted heads so much as teammates. But that's also what made them so special, as they sometimes looked like a 1A and 1B option rather than a 1 and 2. This is my list of honorable mentions. Obviously, there's a lot of other greats here, and solid arguments can definitely be made in their favor. Should any of these duos have made it into the top 6 instead? Let me know if you believe so. Number 1, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. Was there ever really a question on who would get the top spot? Sure, you could argue that tandems like Shaq and Kobe, LeBron and Wade, and Magic and Kareem were more talented duos. But from the perspective of consistency and how the stars complemented one another, it doesn't get any better than Jordan and Pippen. Depending on who you ask, Jordan is possibly the greatest scorer in NBA history. And although Pippen was never a league-leading scorer, he did
most people should agree with that one though, in my opinion, bro.
Consistently chip in around 20 points per game in an era where offense was much harder to come by. But without question, their greatest strength as a duo was their all-time great perimeter defense. In their years as teammates, Jordan was first-team All-Defense 9 times, and Pippen was first-team All-Defense 6 times. They were both so elite on defense that it was a genuine debate on who the better defensive player was. And please, let me know in the comments who you believe is the better defender. Together, they won 6 championships in a span of 8 years, with Michael Jordan being the Finals MVP all 6 times. These are the career numbers of the two greats as teammates, as the two were constantly a nightmare for opposing teams on both ends of the court. Honestly, I expect my picks of 2 through 5 to be highly scrutinized, but personally, I don't see how anyone could disagree on the top spot on this list, as Jordan and Pippen remain as the model of excellence when it comes to
1 and 2 can't really be argued. You know, the 1 spot and the 2 spot can't really be argued, you know. Other ones, maybe, you know what I'm saying, you probably get into
the
that,
all-time great 1-2 punches.
I would feel like it,
so what do you guys think? How does your list differ from mine? And bonus question, if you could make a duo out of any 2 players in NBA history, which 2 would you choose?
That's the end of this joint, y'all. Bro, list look fine to me, bro. It look fine to me. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing with the old school players, like, I wasn't really there to really see what was really going on though, so I really I can't have too much of a strong opinion on the old school duos, I guess you could say, except for like Mike and Scotty, you know, Kobe and Shaq. I could, you know what I'm saying, do a little 1-2, you know, but other than that, it's like but if y'all enjoy, you know what to do, man. Click on the last joint, subscribe, share the video with your people, social media platforms. I'm out of here, man.